because we felt, okay, what did we do wrong? He's gonna discipline us. And you were kind of afraid of that. It just put something in your belly, and you would say to yourself, oh no. His eyebrows would go up, and his eyes would turn a deeper green than they were, and you knew he was angry. Everybody would say, I don't want to get in trouble because Joseph's going to strangle us.
Toya Jackson revealed the painful truth behind Michael Jackson's childhood, and her words forced people to see Joe Jackson in a darker light.
Well, as you know from reading the book, there was a lot of abuse in the family. There was not only physical and emotional, but there was also sexual abuse. And I think this is something that needs to be addressed to the world, to the public, to let people know that sexual abuse is wrong, and we should put a stop to it.
How scared. I mean, scared. So scared that I would regurgitate.
When he was beating you, did you hate him?
Yeah. Strong hate.
For years, fans saw Michael as the greatest entertainer on earth. His voice, dancing, stage presence, and obsession with perfection made him seem almost untouchable. But behind that success was a childhood filled with pressure, fear, and pain that Michael continued carrying with him for the rest of his life.
Because you live with this anger and this fear inside of you, and it's not healthy for your system. So I think anybody who's ever been abused should speak out and let people know that you're being abused. Because eventually, what the abuser doesn't know is eventually that person that they're abusing is going to tell on you sooner or later. Maybe not today or tomorrow, but eventually that person will speak out and say, this person abused me.
That's why Toya's words cut so deep. She wasn't some outsider speculating from a distance. She was Michael's own sister, someone who grew up under the same roof, who watched the same walls close in. When she spoke about Joe's brutal discipline, she wasn't gossiping. She was tearing open a wound the family had kept hidden for decades, and handing the world a piece of the truth behind the myth. And that's what makes this story impossible to look away from. The world fell in love with Michael the performer, the moonwalk, the falsetto, the perfection. But few wanted to ask what it cost to build that perfection. Behind the spotlight was a childhood stripped of softness, where love came wrapped in fear, and discipline blurred into something far darker. Joe didn't just push his children. According to those closest to the family, he broke them down first, so he could rebuild them into what he wanted. Michael himself would later describe crying alone, terrified of his own father's footsteps. That's not the origin story of a legend. That's the invention, the desperate search for the childhood he never got to have. So when we sell it, in his case, wasn't nurtured. It was extracted, at a price that haunted him until the day he died.
It was very, very hard. My father was very strict. He beat us.
Well, when you say he beat you, did he spank you, whip you? I mean, what?
You had a belt, you say in the book. Belts, whips, whatever. My brothers were grown, and my father would take his fist and he would punch them and knock them down the steps constantly.
Would they provoke him?
To this day, no, of course not. To this day, they are still afraid of my father, and they will tell you.
And he didn't allow us to call him Daddy. And I wanted to call him Daddy so bad. He said, I'm not Daddy, I'm Joseph to you, you know? And I totally forgive him for all of it, you know? You have to.
And then she went further. She opened up about the beatings. The ones she says both she and Michael endured behind closed doors. And that's when the story stopped being painful and became something almost unbearable to read. According to Toya, Michael suffered in silence even as the entire world worshipped him as a superstar. He was expected to perform while carrying wounds nobody was allowed to see. That's the part people forget when they talk about his genius. Behind every perfect performance was a little boy who had already learned that pain had to be hidden, that suffering had no place on stage. The emotional scars Toya describes never really left him. They just went underground, buried beneath the glitter and the fame, quietly shaping the man he became until the very end.
They come to me and they say, Toya, we have kids in college and we're afraid of my father still today. But my mother allowed this to go on, which makes it so bad. She didn't stop it.
She too was a victim, wasn't she?
My mother, by my father, according to my brother, yes. According to Michael, he would tell me he would see my father beating my mother. I had never seen my father beat my mother. But he beat all of us. I got beat once only, but
You came home
brothers.
with a straight A report card and
I
got
came
beat.
home with a report card, and there it was. He beat me. I didn't know why, because when you're young, you don't understand. But it was because I didn't speak up and talk in school. And the reason for that is because I saw so much going on inside the house. I said to myself, I don't want to be a part of this, and I would never talk. I was so quiet and shy because I didn't want it to happen to me.
So did this persist all through your childhood and continue into young adulthood?
Adult, everything. I mean, Michael was doing, I think it was Off the Wall thriller, and he was still getting beat, but what you guys see is him up on the awards, accepting these awards and smiling. My father's chasing him around the house, and he's running from him, terrified. I think child abuse is really a major issue in America. I'm not so sure about here in Europe and
yes,
Britain.
people have been reported, Roseanne Barr among them, and yourself standing up and saying they were abused as children. Were you
Yes.
sexually as a child?
Yes, sexually abused, physical and mentally as well. It went on in our family all the time. And the sad part about it all is that no one really knew about it because we always had to smile for the cameras whenever we were on television or taking pictures and pretend like we were this loving, perfect family. However, at home it was quite different for us. And you can't live your life with this in your system.
That is what makes her words so heavy. Michael wasn't just a child star chasing fame. He was a young boy pushed into a life where success came wrapped in fear and control. And even when he became the biggest entertainer the world had ever seen, that childhood pain never left him. So LaToya's comments helped explain why Michael often seemed so sensitive, so guarded, so endlessly desperate for peace. The world saw the legend. But his family saw the child, who had been broken long before the fame ever arrived.
My father was a very abusive person, and I think he didn't know how to control it, or he didn't know or realize what he was doing. He did lots of things. He would beat us constantly. He would take guns and put them to our heads and pull the trigger all the time until the day I left home. He would take matches and burn our toes, and he would laugh, and we couldn't do anything. Because if you would say no or whatever when you were asleep and he's burning your toes, he would beat you. So you'd have to stay there and just take the pain and not do anything.
What kind of man is this?
Well, I think he's mentally deranged, don't you?
I agree with you.
I think he's mentally disturbed. I don't think that,
You stayed with your parents till you were 30 years old. Why didn't you?
Till I was 29, yes, a
Why
very
didn't you
long
get
time.
out of the house sooner?
I made several attempts to leave. And, you can ask me this question. Yes, of course. I made several attempts to leave. But I never could leave because my father would always say, wherever you go, I'm going to find you and bring you back home.
Then LaToya revealed something even harder to hear. The pain inside the Jackson household wasn't just about Michael. According to her, their father beat them, again and again, while their mother stayed, trapped in a situation she felt powerless to leave. It wasn't one child suffering alone. It was an entire family living under the same fear.
Michael was the only one that actually tried to fight back and tried to hit your father.
He was a little boy, yes. He was the only one. I don't think he knew exactly what he was doing. But the more he would get beat, he'd throw it back at him and throw it straight. He would have to always get the last lick in, always.
And yet he wrote a book where he didn't talk about the abuse at all.
He did talk about the beatings. In his book, he does. He mentions that his father was very abusive. He beat them all the time.
Really?
My mother also wrote a book, and she also mentions that in her book, and she also mentions my father's second family and so many other things. But she omitted this from her book in America, but the book that she wrote in Paris, it's still there.
What's been the reaction of your family to this book?
I have no idea. My parents, of course, they're denying it, and of course, typical that they would deny it. Denial is the first sign of dysfunctional and abuse as well. However, outsiders have accepted the book, and they understand. They understand about the abuse. There wasn't just physical abuse, it was also mental abuse, which is very disturbing, and also physical abuse as well.
That part makes the story even heavier. It shows just how trapped the entire family dynamic really was. Michael and his siblings weren't just growing up under strict rules, they were growing up under fear, pressure, and control, while their mother was caught in a position where leaving felt impossible. So these weren't children's routine, and silence became the only way to survive.
And my mother was sort of like the silent partner, and she would always say, but it's not good for you to be out there alone. You're a girl and someone can follow you and follow you home, and it's very dangerous. But as
So
you
you
asked me
terrorized
that
the whole
question,
family in a way, didn't you?
everybody. I was basically next to the last to leave home. Michael left home 1 week after I did. And you could say, why did he stay? He could have left as well.
He learned to perform through fear, to smile through pressure, to hide his pain behind a mask of perfection. The world saw the talent, but LaToya's words reveal the cost buried beneath it. Michael wasn't just chasing greatness. He was also running from a home life that had already left deep, invisible scars.
Because my father was disturbed. I think any man who sexually abused his daughter, something is wrong right here. But nothing was wrong with my mother, and she allowed him to do these things. It's very wrong. You don't allow your husband to sexually abuse your children like this.
And then LaToya used her own story to make a larger point about why speaking up matters. After sharing what she says happened inside the Jackson family home, she didn't want the message to end with Michael, or staying quiet only protects the person causing harm. Her message was clear. That's what made her words feel bigger than just one family's story. LaToya was turning a painful memory into a warning for others, reminding victims they are not alone, and urging families to stop hiding mistreatment behind image, success, or fear.
And I just want to say to all the children or people that are out there that have been abused, all the big victims, please, you got to speak up and start telling people. Because if you don't, you won't help yourself. You're not curing yourself at all.
Well, it's not an appropriate time of the evening, I'm afraid, to talk about the nature of the sexual abuse. But your father physically attacked you, abused you, frightened you?
With everybody in the family. It wasn't just me. He would hold guns to our heads and pull the trigger constantly.
She explained that the pain, the beatings, and the family turmoil became so overwhelming that she and Michael reached moments where they simply felt they couldn't take it anymore. That part is heartbreaking because it shows just how serious the suffering was behind the fame. This wasn't strict parenting or ordinary family pressure. According to LaToya, the emotional damage grew so heavy that it pushed them into a very dark place. And that makes Michael's story even harder to sit with. While the world watched him perform, smile, and rise into a global star, he was privately carrying pain most people never understood. LaToya's words make clear that the trauma didn't vanish once the family became famous. In some ways, fame only made it harder to talk about.
A lot of my brothers and sisters have tried to commit suicide. The point of the matter is, it's not which brother and sister tried to do it. The point of the matter is that we lived in a household that would drive you to do something like this. My father beat me, and he beat me, and he beat me. And then he threw me in the bathroom, and he closed the door. Beat me with a belt buckle and a switch. My brothers are grown now, and they have all approached me at different times. And they've cried, and they've said, I'm terribly afraid of my father. It's a shame, but I can't stand to be in the same room with him. And they would always refer to him as, I hate him, I hate him. And the only reason that I'm telling this and saying this, Michael, if you're listening, is to help you. Again, you're covering up your true feelings, you're hiding, and you shouldn't do that. Express yourself and let it out. That's what's wrong with the family. We led a very sheltered life, and no one knows the true thing, how they really are.
LaToya Jackson refused to take back her claims about Joe Jackson, and that moment made the family story even more painful. She had already spoken publicly about what she says happened inside the Jackson home. But when asked about those claims years later, she didn't walk them back. Instead, she stood firm, making it clear that the pain she described wasn't something she was willing to erase just because it made others uncomfortable. However, she later added some nuance, saying it was sometimes fine for parents to discipline their kids.
Are today,
Where I am
having
today.
lived, I mean, you actually came out and said you thought it was true because you were, that was all a lie, that was all because his influence, he told you to say that.
Yes, but we grew up in an abusive family, meaning that my father, see, this is what's interesting about life.
Yeah.
That is what made the interview so serious. LaToya was talking about strict discipline or family pressure. While she was angry at her father at first, she later realized that discipline was necessary. However, she didn't mean that misconduct should be tolerated.
The way we grew up, and as you get older, you get smarter and you get wiser. And I grew up, you don't realize sometimes when your parents beat you or spank you or things of that nature, they're doing it to help you. But as a child, as a kid, you see it as, why is he hurting me? Why is he doing this to me? And that's how I saw it, and that's how my siblings saw it. Michael wrote about it in his book, how abusive my father.
Michael was so overwhelmed by the pain around him that he wanted to escape it entirely. But most of that suffering stayed hidden from the public eye. On stage, people saw the perfect performer, the smile, the dancing, the voice, the magic. But behind that image, Michael was carrying things he didn't always say out loud. The pressure inside the family, the fear of disappointing Joe, and the emotional wounds from his childhood followed him long after he became the biggest star in the world.
Michael Jackson, you don't have it so bad. What are you escaping from? You know?
I'm not escaping from anything. It's just a change of pace.
Right, it is.
It's a change of pace.
He doesn't escape from anything.
That is what makes LaToya's comments so heartbreaking. She showed that Michael's success didn't come from a normal childhood. It came from a home where love and fear were tangled together, where he often felt trapped by expectations he never asked for. Meanwhile, Janet Jackson has also spoken about how strict and difficult that environment could be. Younger than Michael, she still witnessed the pressure, the control, and the emotional weight of belonging to such a famous family. For the Jackson children, fame didn't mean freedom. In many ways, it meant more expectations, more discipline, and more pressure to protect the family image.
And wants nothing but the best for his kids. I just think that the way he went about certain things wasn't the best way, but it got the job done. And that's because of maybe how he was raised, doing what he thought was best, not knowing any better. So
you tell a story in the book. One occasion you cite when you're getting out of the bathtub and he whacks you. How old were you then?
I was very young. I remember being younger than 8. Let me put it like that.
I mean, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, and I can't remember what it was that I did. I can't remember if I truly deserved it. But my father's never touched me aside from that time. He's never whipped me.
But he did the boys quite a lot. He was quite physically disciplinarian.
When my brother Randy and I, when we came along, I think my parents got kind of tired. Having 9 kids and raising these children, I think they became, and everyone says, you guys have it so easy. My other brothers and sisters would say. And my parents were a lot more lenient with us.
Then Joe Jackson denied beating Michael, and that denial became another major part of the story. Joe always defended himself by insisting he was about building greatness, keeping the family focused, and pushing them toward a life they might never have reached without pressure. He didn't present himself as someone who wanted to hurt Michael.
About all these things that have been said over the years that you harmed Michael as a child.
Oh, that's a bunch of bull. That's a bunch of bull.
Straighten me out.
That's not true.
You never physically harmed him.
Never have. And I raised him just like you would raise your kids, But harm Michael for what? I have no reason. That's my son. I loved him, and I still love him.
Then Joe Jackson spoke about beating his kids, and his response showed how differently he viewed the way he raised them. Joe didn't present it as misconduct, he defended it as discipline. From his side, he believed he was being strict because he wanted his children to stay focused, stay out of trouble, and become successful. He saw himself as a father who had to be hard because the world was hard, and he believed that pressure was what turned the Jacksons into stars. But that's where the story turned, and LaToya opened up about the pain inside the family home.
There is a difference between a beating and a spanking.
A spanking, you just spank them a little bit with your hands, something let them know that's wrong what they're doing. A beating comes from the slavery days, when they used to beat the slaves, because when the slaves tried to run for freedom or something, they grabbed them and beat them and tortured them, and they beat them with just about anything they get their hands on, put scars on them and all that type of thing. And that's the difference between beating, and that's where it came from in the slavery days by the slave master.
Then the story turns even darker when Michael spoke about Joe holding a belt while they practiced. For Michael, rehearsal wasn't just about hitting the right note or nailing the right step, it came wrapped in fear. If he made a mistake, Joe could be standing right there, belt in hand, ready to punish him. That kind of pressure made rehearsals feel less like childhood training and more like
you.
Michael Jackson later opened up about the beatings he experienced as a child, and his words revealed just how deeply that pain had stayed with him.
But I think my brother Marlon got it the most because he had a hard time at first. And he tried so hard. And it was always, do it like Michael, you know, but the others were very nervous and I was...
He explained that rehearsals weren't just about music, dancing, and chasing greatness. Joe Jackson was often described as strict and intimidating, and Michael said that fear became a permanent part of his childhood.
Would he only use a belt?
More than a belt.
What else would he use to hit you with?
Ironing cords. Whatever's around. Throw you up against the wall hard as he could. See, it's one thing to...
But you were only a child.
I know.
You were a baby.
That is what makes the story so painful. The world saw Michael as a flawless performer, but that perfection was born out of pressure. He learned at a very young age that getting something wrong could lead to pain. So he pushed himself harder and harder, until every move, every note, every performance had to be nothing short of flawless.
To discipline.
And you were producing successful records.
I know. He would lose his temper. I just remember hearing my mother scream, Joe, you're gonna kill him, you're gonna kill him, stop it, you're gonna kill him, you know, and I was so fast, you know, he couldn't catch me half the time, but when he would catch me, oh my God, it was bad.
Make sure to check out our other videos on the Jackson family. There's a lot more to this story that most people never talk about.